You yourself, you're the prize. You're the one that gets to do it. You're the one that gets to decide. You're the one that gets to be like the all-powerful one because you are the one in charge. And that's why like I like what Okarun says here. She's like, oh, did the impact bumping into me have a delayed effect? It's like, yeah, it sure did. Because the one that's protecting you also is like there to protect you. And that's why over 2,000 of you enjoyed this last video I did on episode 4 of Dan to Dan, which thank you for all the love and the comments. And I love the conversation that you and I had right here. I can't say your name. Zehna Fathoma 9932. Love the conversation that we had. Over 50 comments, just back and forth. It was great. Wanted to do that and just thank you for that, which happy to do that with anybody else that ends up watching this video as well too. I wanted to retouch on the series and the episode 5 because there's a couple of ports, wow, that I ended up missing within my first little walkthrough. And I wanted to continue where we left off on the last video. So with that last video that we ended up doing, it's like we went over this whole concept about how if you're meant to be, you're going to be with that other person. And they had this really awkward conversation. They ended up kissing one another, and they didn't necessarily see it at that point in time. And Momo, she got a little upset at Okarun for doing this, and then her friends come in, and they're just like, like how lame, serious. Like you just kiss, they get all interested, and like they're all kind of curious. And it's just like wicked, those two really get along. Okarun, he ends up going into the bathroom. He has to take like a little leak, and at that moment he's like, oh, no way, like no, that can't be. Like what's going on? Like I'm just over here, just take a little pee, and he wants to say like he has all these other things that he wants to talk to her about, and this is why like the two of these two are like so awkward. Like if we just go over a little bit later to this episode, like this scene here, like when they're walking back, they're just so awkwardly like holding their hands above their head, and it's just like, hey, I'm sorry, like I don't know what I'm doing, like I apologize for this, like I didn't mean to hurt your feelings or anything along those lines, so like I'm sorry about that. But like this is what I've realized and have come to see as like being in my older adult years is like we don't know what we're doing. Nobody has any idea what we're doing. Like we're just over here trying to live our lives in the best way that we can. Nobody really taught us how to have a relationship, how to be nice, how to have like compassion, how to actually treat people the correct way. So that's why like when I see Okarun end up come in and talk with Miss Aya, and it's just like, hey, I need to talk with you. I need to see this thing. Like, because somebody said like, Momo, I heard you were kissing in the courtyard. What kind of guy is he? Which class? I said it's nothing like that. And she gets all freaked out and upset. And one of her friends is like, it's an Okarun or otaku, and a total Four Eyes. And it's like, don't you run off with the story, Miss Aya. There he is. It's just like that's the bae, I said, and it's just like, what the hell are you doing here? He's trying to figure out like what's going on. He just wants to have this conversation with her and tell her like, hey, like, you know, my balls are missing, like I want to talk with you, like we need to go into somewhere private. But she's like so stuck up in like her way of thinking and being like seen as like the popular person, which I understand it, I get it. So it's just like she said, I don't want to talk to you. It's because he said that to her, was like, I don't want to talk to you, but it's like it's something super important. I need to talk to you. Please listen to me. And it's just like as if, and it's just like we start off with the bloodbath. I pity your bae, and what we have right here is, as I said, he's not my boyfriend or anything. But the funny part is like, and I'll touch on this a little bit later, but like she says he's not his boyfriend, but then she gets jealous when this other girl ends up doing this thing to him. So it's a little bit confusing for me. But nonetheless, she's like, don't spread strange rumors. And this is the problem, like being in high school, you guys, or like when you're young, and this never ever actually leaves. Like even if you go to the gym or you go to any public place or you like become friends with people, there's always going to be people around the main person that's like trying to like influence them to think a different thing about like you in whatever way it may be. And that's why what we noticed in the last episode where like they're just trying to find each other because they wanted to have this connection. And then all of a sudden when something goes south, she feels embarrassed, and it's like she goes to like all of her friends to like confirm that embarrassment with them basically. And this happens with other people in your life where like you'll just start to get into like basically an echo chamber, and you'll start to talk with like the same people over and over, and then you'll maybe feel embarrassed, so you won't actually go to the thing that you want to do. Like I used to be embarrassed to make these videos, and now it's just like we have, on the last video, like I said, 2,000 people watched one of my videos of me talking about this show. I'm like, what? How is that possible? Like I've never had a room where that many people want to listen to my videos, and yet over here they're like wanting to hear my take on this, and I'm like, that's such a cool feeling. So that's why I always say, like, leave comments down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your ideas are. Like, do you have a relationship like Okarun and Momo? Like, is it like weird where it's just like she's trying to be like the popular cool kid, and it's just like you're like the nerdy dude with 4 eyes or whatever it is? Like, do you guys live in different universes? Talked about that in a couple videos ago. Highly recommend checking that out. I believe it was the last 2 episodes ago, if I'm remembering correctly. Check that out. So it's just like, Miss Aya, Momo, you talked a whole bunch to me this morning, and it's just like, you said you didn't want, why won't you talk to me now at all? It's just like, you said you don't want to talk to me. I was just provoked, so it was just a retort. And a retort, if you don't know what a retort is, R-E-T-O-R-T, a retort is say something in answer or to a remark or accusation, typically in a sharp, angry, or wittily incisive manner. So it's like a repay, like you're repaying that anger. It's just like a sharp, angry, or witty reply to a remark. So it's just like, to be honest, I just want to talk to you more than anything, Momo. Like, that's all I ever want to do as well too. Like, with my woman, is just like talk to her more than anything else. And I get a little bit emotional, and like I feel for Okarun in this scene right here as much as maybe you do as well too, because everybody's like cheering, like these people are cheering him on, but it seems like it's kind of like in a weird way she won't even look at him, which is a little sad. And it's just like, quit the words, go for it. Quite the words. Wow, quite the words. Go for it, Okarun. And she's just like, shut up. Like, they're actually kind of supportive of him, like confessing his feelings to her. And then it's just like, when I say I don't want to, go away. And she gets really upset, and that's why her other friend comes in. It's like, wow, how cold. That's so brutal. And it's just like, you guys are the brutal ones. And then he's just like looks down in like shame and defeat. And it's just like, so is it that embarrassing to be friendly to me? And that's where like the little shark comes in with her, like, you see it right here, like with her earrings when he says that. At least it should have, like, her earrings move. When I watched this the last time, I don't know why it's not happening. Like, you see it right there, but when he turns down, bows his head just slightly, and then it's just like, so it's really that embarrassing to be friendly to me. And then see right there. It's a subtle thing, but like just that small thing, it's like she is paying attention. She does know what he's talking about, and like how it's not really that embarrassing, because the last time that we saw that earring flash as well too, which if we can go back here, I believe it was at the end of episode 1, if I'm remembering correctly. Bear with me, you guys, for just 1 second. So like right here on this scene is right when she ends up falling in love with him too. That same effect happens to her earrings, where she comes in. So it's right here. So it's like, I'm an awkward fellow after all. And then the earring glistens and glimmers again right in that said section. So it's like, it's these small little subtle lines that they say to one another that builds on a lot of their rapport and the relationship that they have. So that's why after that earring little thing happens, he's just like, all right, screw it, I'm going to walk away. And it's like, you don't have to go all out to reject him, is what her other friend ends up saying. And it's just like, if he's just a friend, you'd let it slide with a wisecrack like you always do. And that's the interesting part. So it's like, maybe he's not just a friend. Maybe he's something more. Maybe he is the love of your life that you didn't know you even had in the first place. And yet you ended up deciding to be like, you know what, I'm going to be a little bit of a bitch to him, basically, because I want to see where he stands, and I actually like him a lot more. And that's why I relayed back into that other scene earlier when like her earring flashes, when she says like, I'm an awkward fellow after all, from episode 1, from her like idol, and what we talked about a couple episodes ago as well too, of like when she's running down the hallway with her grandma and him, and when he has to go to the bathroom, and she ends up jumping up and like falling and like freezing when she says, hey, slow down, Ken, and she gets like all head over heels for him. So it's just like the relationship that these two have, it's unlike anything that I've ever seen, and it's something that I would like to have in my own entire life as well too, in my actual IRL life. So it's like, this isn't like you. She gets a little sad, depressed, she starts to notice that, and that's why it's just like, I wonder if Momo already went home. He's still thinking about her, which is incredible. And like, maybe you've always thought about your woman too. I know I think about my woman from time to time. Actually, not even time to time, like all the time. I'm like, how can I be better for her? What can I do a little bit differently? How can I have better conversations? How can I improve myself? How can I make more money? How can I be a better provider? How can I know myself better? And then through that process, it's also like, I'm just doing that with myself. It's a different concept, but it's something that I quite thoroughly enjoy. So that's why when this other girl comes in, it's just like, oh, I'm sorry. And he gets a little nervous. It's like, are you all right? Oh, no, it's okay. Like, you're okay. I hit you with my water bottle. Hope that didn't hurt. Yada, yada, yada. She's like, I'm sorry. Like when she touches him, like, yeah, sure, he does like freak out a little bit of like, huh, okay, this is a little interesting. That's totally my fault. Please don't worry about it. Because he does get a little bit nervous around that. You're a very kind person. She ends up smiling. He gets a little nervous, and it's just like, Momo says, man, I feel so bummed. It feels like I'm the bad guy, and that's because she was the bad guy. Like, she was trying to feel superior amongst her friends and be like, no, I don't care about him, even though that's like the only thing that she ever really did care about. So it's like I was the one at fault because he was just trying to be nice and care for her. And that's why she's like, this is the scene that I was talking about earlier. She like, it's like you can see her little body language shift right here. So like if we go frame by frame, like you see how she just slightly perks up, like she gets a little bit taller, a little bit shocked. And she's like, oh, why? It's because she saw the other girl touching him, who she actually enjoys, which shows me that like, they're laughing. And it's just like, what's she thinking about? And she's like, what the hell? And you notice how it goes right in on the hand. And this is the trick, you guys, that our brains and our minds will play on us because we don't know the full story. We don't know what's happening between these two. All we know if we're in Momo's shoes is like, oh, they are laughing and she's touching him. So it's like, if I was laughing, if I was touching him, then that means that like I would be flirting with him. So it's just like, what's going on? And that's where she's like, didn't he say he had no friends? And she's kind of cute too. And that's why this is really rude for me personally when they're talking about this. But like, and that's why I say like our minds they create our reality. They create everything that we know. We can't always see things, and that's what makes this anime so impressive to me is like you see and you're able to see things that you weren't able to see in the first place. So it's like, hey, did you see that? And this is what I don't like, that Otaku had such a dumb look on his face, which is upsetting to me that somebody has to smile and walk away like that of like, oh yeah, oh look at this, look at me, I'm so much better than them. But it's like, you aren't better than them. Like you are on their level as much as they're on your level. Like he's actually probably better than you because he doesn't have to make other people feel bad to make himself feel good like she does, which is really messed up. And then like they're both smiling, but that's not something that I want you to do. That's not something that I do. I'd always just do the best to make the other person feel better, regardless of whatever it is that they are doing. So he totally fell for me back there. It's just like, yeah, I doubt he actually fell for you. He was just thrown off and shocked that you were there in that said moment because you're also a crucial role in his story and in his arc that you don't necessarily know quite now. So it's like, Zokarun's also fucking like, he's a master, bro. He's a fucking master. So he must be head over heels for me by now. And this is what Momo's hearing, by the way. You're such a player, which is messed up. What I mean, it's so fun when scum fall for you. And that's where Momo gets a little upset. I'm sure a guy like that never had a decent conversation with a girl anyways, and he probably never will be touched by a cute girl like me ever again. I'm letting him dream, so isn't that a good thing? Which is so messed up. And this is where I say, like, she's hearing these things, but how do we know that the things that she's hearing are actually the things that are being said? What if those are just the things that she thought she needed to hear because that's the thing that she wanted to hear so that she could do the thing that she does next? Maybe this happens in your own life as well too. Like there's no physical way. Like just think about this with me just for 1 second. There's no physical way. Okay? There's no physical way for you to know whether or not the words that somebody else is saying and the words that you are hearing are the same words. Like there's no way. You can't understand that. You can be like, well, yes, there is. Like this person's saying this and I'm hearing this. But like if you look up hypnosis, if you look up other ways of how people are manipulated and how their attention is getting like swayed by like pickpocketers or something like that, you'll realize what I'm saying is true and you'll be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear things that this person isn't saying, or like I am seeing things that this other person didn't say. So it's like you can't really know what you're hearing because your brain will only ever pick up on the things that you want to hear, even in this video. Some of you might understand this, what I'm saying, where other people won't, because some of you will be ready to hear this where other people won't. It's just how your brains are going to be able to interpret the information that is coming through on whether or not you're able to perceive it or you're not able to perceive it on the way that you're able to connect the dots or you're on the way you're not able to connect the dots. It really comes down to you. So I'm sure four-eyed otaku, I know that's a big little rant, but it's true. You can't know. You just can't know what's going on inside somebody else's head. You can't know whether or not you're hearing the same thing that the other person needs to hear. You can't know what the other person is going to be thinking about you or what they thought you said in the said scenario. All you can know is like what you know yourself. And then if you focus on a certain conversation or a certain topic, that's going to be the thing that you focus on more of. It's it's something that you need to keep in mind. It's something that I keep in mind all the time. Is like, I was having a conversation the other day with one of my friends, and he was just like, yeah, sometimes you just have to bet big and you have to go all in on it. And then I was just thinking about that over and over and over and over in my mind. But like to somebody else, it could be like, oh no, I just heard this other thing where he was talking about like doing handstands and this is how he was able to do it. It's like we all have our own way of perceiving things in the way that we need to perceive them. Even another friend of mine, he was like, I want to see a dude with a cowboy hat. And then one of my other friends texted him and he's like, hey, I saw this dude with a cowboy hat walk in. And my friend walks up, he's like, hey, look at this, like on the photo. I was like, dude, like that's so cool. But how do I know that I was actually seeing the thing that was on the phone that he wasn't seeing? It's so cool, dude. Like you just can't really know. It's like even when Momo does this thing right here and the barrel just smashes on her head. It's just like you can't see how she was able to do that said thing. And you'd be like, oh, if you didn't know about like magical powers and like her gifts and things like that, you would just think that this wash bucket just fell into her head out of nowhere and it's just kind of flipped. But it's like, no, Momo was the one that had the powers and she decided to touch on this with her spiritual essence because we all do have spiritual gifts. It's just a matter of whether or not they're awakening, which I'll show you that at the end of this video because there's this part with a Turbo Granny and Oko run that I want to talk about. So you just have to stay tuned for that. So I'm sure the 4-8 Otaku is happy now too, which is still fucked that she ends up saying that. And it's just like, all right, are you okay? But wait, why a wash bin? Because she's all washed up. Plus, like, there's a wash bin, and that's a little bit of foreshadowing as well, too, because there's going to be another wash bin coming later. And maybe it's also, think about it this way, maybe it's because the granny knew that there's a fucking wash bin that ended up happening. There's a wash bin in the beginning, and there's a wash bin later. Like, it's a trip how things are always connected when you look at it in that way. And some people will be like, no, things aren't connected. But it's like, they are. Like, they're just connected in the ways that you might not necessarily know. There's always a common thread. There's always something similar to be able to be seen. It's just a matter, are you going to be the one that's paying attention? So that fell directly from above us, didn't it? Is what they're saying. And that's where, like, Okarun is like, huh? That's the girl from earlier. The girl from earlier has fallen. He ends up talking to the impact. And this is what I love about who's, like, this is his fucking, dude, this is his fucking thing. It's like, did the impact bumping into me have a delayed effect? It's like, huh. I love his level of confidence, bro. Like, it's so impressive, and this is why he doesn't need other people. And even when, like, Momo does come in, and he's like, huh, what's going on, Miss Aya? What's going on? Okuran, let's go home together. Oh, you totally look sharp as usual with those glasses. I guess stupid girls will never understand your charm. And then she gives the death glare to her. It's just like some are more fit to have wash tubs fall on their heads than guys falling for her, which that kind of is a little backfire for her later in the next episode, which I'll end up doing a video on that as well too. But it's just like you see this stuff, you guys, and it's so cool how like she sees it and like she's trying to make him feel better. But these women too, you guys, like they're competitive, they're ruthless. Like they just want to be the one that's like winning the prize. So like you yourself are the prize. The women, yes, they are the prize, but it's like you yourself, you're the prize. You're the one that gets to do it. You're the one that gets to decide. You're the one that gets to be like the all-powerful one because you are the one in charge. And that's why like I like what Okarun says here. She's like, oh, did the impact bumping into me have a delayed effect? It's like, yeah, it sure did. Because the one that's protecting you also is like there to protect you. And that's why seeing this scene that I touched on a little bit earlier as well too, it's like in the courtyard after the incident, that was a kiss. I got all flustered. I'm sorry, I was so embarrassed. And this is where I'm like, they're so embarrassing. They're so cute together. Like, it's just amazing seeing how like they have their like two little love stories going on. Like they're trying to be like friendly and like apologize to each other. So it's like, I'm not embarrassed about you being friendly to you, Okarun. Which she still can't even say his actual name. And he's just like, no, it's fine. I don't mind at all. More like, I'm very happy that I can make amends with you, which is incredible. And then this scene right here, it's just like, dude, it's the lighting, it's the color, it's the perfection within this anime that's just like, it's so good because like you can see that they're both like slightly insecure, slightly embarrassed. They slightly have no idea how to like express their feelings in the true way. And yet they're trying to express their feelings in the way that they need to express their feelings in. So that's why it's like when it comes in, it's just like, oh, always. Like they had that little brief, no, it's fine. I don't mind at all. More like, I'm very happy that I can make amends with you because that's all they want. They just want friends. Like they just want to be friends. And that's why like they have that brief moment of silence. She's a little like embarrassed and like, I do like you a lot. I really do. And then he's over here like, yeah, I like you as well too. Like that's awesome. It's like, anyway, that's trivial. I have a big problem because this is way more important. What do you mean trivial? And it's just like, so right here. Right here. Sorry, guys. What do you mean trivial? I was agonizing a lot about this. but please, because it was trivial for him, and she was like agonizing within her head, like, this is what I was talking about in the last episode around this as well too, that got 2,000 views, which maybe this will get 2,000 views too. If we can get 100 likes on this, you guys, boom, that'd be fucking sick. Let's go. So it's like, please calm down and listen. you know how we defeated Turbo Granny, right? And she's like, yeah, of course. Like, your curse is gone and things are back, and your thing is back too, right? And she's like, it's gone. And he's like, my balls. And she's like, huh? My balls are gone. And then she's just dying laughing. And that's why the granny told her to like let him see, so that she could like see his balls to make sure that they weren't like missing. And they just keep on going through. It's just like, you're laughing too hard. I'd be laughing too if I were her. It's just like, yeah, you lost your balls. But yeah, he still has more fucking riz than most of the dudes out here in this world. So like, I will give him that, and you can give him that as well too. So it's like the shaft was back, so I felt reassured, and I didn't notice the balls. And then the granny throws so much shade at him. It's just like, Shaft, stop making it sound like it's something glorious, which it is. It's something glorious, and it's like, you've never seen it. She's like, yours is nothing more than a pencil. You've never seen it. No choice. Got to take a peek. He's like, wait, no, you're going to look. I ain't gonna take a look at your wiener. This anime, you guys, it's a fucking trip. It's so good. It's so good. And then trying to figure out what's going on, trying to see what you can see. And this is something that also only you'll ever be able to see. Something why I would highly recommend like you looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing if you see anything that you don't want to see. And then if you can find something, look at it, question it, acknowledge it, let it go, release it, or accept it into you, whatever it is that you want to do. So it's like, Mom will bring me the doll. I don't care what it is. Also, bring a washing bin and some water, and that's where I was saying, like, the washing bin was foreshadowed in the beginning when it dropped on the head of the other person. How Granny knew that, I don't know, but she did, and it's like, there's something inside of him. She has to figure out what it is. She ends up grabbing that. All right, let's begin. Put the talisman over there. She figures out, she whaps him a couple of times. Don't move, wait a minute, yada, yada, yada. And then she's like, rotten tangerine. I don't know what the rotten tangerines are. Did you get a glimpse of anything? And that's where it's like, I did. And this is a cool thing. Like, sometimes it's subtle, but like, you can get a glimpse of it if you're paying close enough attention. So right when Okuran got smoked, the aura changed for an instant. And within that instant, like, she notices the aura change, and it's like, all right, Momo, help me out. This is why having somebody that can teach you how to use your spiritual powers, I can help you use your spiritual powers if you have any. And like I've said, everybody does have them. It's just a matter of figuring it out. So it's like, the instant the aura changes, pull off that aura. And it's just like, you can pull out a human aura. And it's just like, if something's foreign, you should be able to pull it out, which is what she does. And concentrate. Okay, got it. She smacks him, and it's just like, it escaped. And it's just like, calm down. It's in the doll. They end up chasing after her, trying to figure it out. This is where I say, like, there's a meditation that you can do to work on your mind's eye. Stare at a candle. Talked about this a couple of times, but I'll talk on it again. Stare at a candle, look at the candle, close your eyes, see the candle burning in your mind's eye. You can start to do this with other ways of doing it. I do it with the videos, I do it with views, I do it with being able to figure out like the powers that I have, because everything is an internal state more than an external state. Something that I just highly recommend. So it's like when she closes her eyes, she's able to see like, where's the cat? She's focusing, and it's like, there you are. She ends up using her powers to grab it, and she's like, got it. And then she's like, I'll kill all of you, yada, yada, yada. They end up going through this whole thing. And she's like, it's Triple Granny. I thought we defeated her. Triple Granny ended up like putting herself into Okuran and was going to wait until her spiritual powers ended up like coming back into their life, which was, she's like, yep, I'll do that. So I'll snap your bones. Like, she's getting all frustrated because she's now powerless. And she's like, they aren't at the advantage. Okuran's showing all this stuff to her to see what's going on. And she's like, I'm sorry, you guys, that I'm rushing through this, but the video's already 20 minutes. If you want longer videos, I can make longer videos, but I also feel like I don't need to make like, I'm happy to if you need me to. So it's like, hurry up and do this, because she, like, Turbo Granny is like, if you do, I'll give you your balls back after he kills the two bitches. She's like, damn it, you have no choice but to obey me. He says, hurry up. He ends up transforming, which, love the transformation. I do want to make a video on this as well too, because you notice how he doesn't have shoes on. And in other episodes too, he does have shoes on, but he also doesn't. But like, dude, just the animation, like how they did this whole thing, it's so cool with how they like do the little shaky, like he gets like nice and big, and then like he just explodes into his new like form basically, which is incredible. Like, we all have our new form, it's just might not necessarily be able to be seen by everybody else around us, like we talked about in the last episode when Momo was running on his back. The only people that could actually see him would be people that have the awakened power. Otherwise, everybody would just think that they're playing chicken or an explosion's happening. Stuff like this is too much stress. Stress makes me wilt. He doesn't seem as depressed as he was beforehand either. So it's just like, why? We drove Turbo Granny out, so why can you transform? And it's just like, impossible. What's going on is what Turbo Granny says. The paper fan is used to drive evil spirits out of people's bodies. And then you seem to have been trying really hard to cling on because it looks like only Granny's consciousness came out. So that means that he's still able to transform. And why I would ask you is like, what is true? Like, is your consciousness and your spirit connected? Because if it is, clearly your consciousness can go into something else where your spirit can stay in the other form and or body. Something to think about, something that I would highly recommend you think about. So which means your spiritual power still remaining inside the kid, and why sometimes you can have something within you, but then once you get that thing out of you, you can still have the spiritual gifts and the powers that were originally in you when you had the evil spirit in you. Even though there is no evil, there is no good, everything is just neutral. It comes down to your belief in how you see the world as to whether it's not something is good and or bad or evil. So, and just the consciousness was transferred into the doll, and that's where you get to see him. It's just like, by the way, I'm the only one who can return your consciousness to the original place. But didn't you face Kenpachi here and call me an idiot? And then it's like, you dumb cat turd, rotten tangerine. So it's just like, sometimes it's best just to respect everybody in the ways that you can and in the best ways, because you never know what somebody's going through or where somebody's at. So it's like, the hell are you think you're doing? Ends up smashing, he ends up turning back, oh, you're back. Figures out like why he was able to secure in the first place, and Momo ends up being very nice, and how she realized that like it was good that Granny had sympathy for the girls and wanted to like sympathize with them, even though it probably would have been better to empathize with them. That's just my own little take. So she ends up going through. It's like, you're a bit friendly here. If you give back the balls, we'll return your powers, which I don't know if that's actually going to happen. You guys let me know if you think that's going to happen. Like, will they actually return the powers to Turbo Granny, or will they not return her spiritual powers to Turbo Granny? Like, would like to let you get your take on that as well too, because they just want to get his balls back, and yet she doesn't have them anymore. Like, she ended up dropping them somewhere else, so they have to go find them, and that's what the next episode is going to be about, is how some people, when they don't understand, they try to force their ideas and beliefs onto you, which is perfectly okay. But all you got to really do is just remember that there's always going to be love for you. You have more powers than you originally thought. And if you made it to the end of the video, you can subscribe for more videos similar to this, and I'll catch you in the next one that I end up doing. Even though I told you that I wasn't going to do any more videos for the rest of this month, I'm like, I've already made it this far. Like, let's see if we can make it even further. Like, let's see if we can get 90 videos, long form videos over 3 months, and let's see what we can do. I don't know if it's going to work, but if it does, cool. And I also did share my other second channel with you guys as well too. Like, if you want to watch those videos, more than welcome to. It's on the community tab. You can just go check that. You can click on the link and you can actually see like what I look like, other things that I talk about that aren't necessarily related to anime, because I just like talking. I like sharing these ideas. To anybody that wants to listen and actually improve themselves, then those will be for you as well too. But with that being said, hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll chat with you in tomorrow's video if we do end up making one. I think I will have a plan on doing that, but just in case, just wanted to give you that as a heads up. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow.